tested.
I hope so.
Yaakov, you're going to start having a lot more shiloh from Florida.
Why is that?
The Hasidim are heading out there in droves.
How do you know?
Heading out
By
where?
the way, yes, it's interesting. I have two guys that I work with today that packed up, went to
There's
Florida.
10 people I spoke to all told me they're in Florida. That's
You
I
serious?
was actually just thinking about going there today.
they're all in Orlando.
Orlando. Okay, so did they open up? I guess Florida opened up. Didn't they have a ban on New Yorkers?
No, there's not a ban. You have to officially quarantine, but he says no one checks on you.
Uh-huh.
They're all headed. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but also Florida opened up their state already.
No, they don't. It's cold to go upstate.
And you're allowed to go to the beach now in Florida.
Right, the beach is open. The beach is open. I spoke to a guy in Florida today. The beach is
What do you
open.
mean? They're renting these houses.
California. Also, I heard the beaches are packed today in LA.
Yeah, those big, huge houses that everyone goes to Pesach are basically they're giving away because Disney World's closed.
Are you saying I should head down there? Stroll, you want to head down there?
I was thinking about it today. Yeah, actually, I would.
Yes, maybe we go down there,
I
yes.
would do it as long as not a Chil Hashem. That's all. I can't be doing Chil Hashem.
I'm pretty sure it's
If you just rent a house and you don't leave.
Oh, you're supposed to get it. Yes, tell me to get it.
Who?
We should all go down there as a shear together.
Oh, then we can make our sim.
Yeah.
Or a minion. Why don't we just do it in Jesse's backyard?
No, because you're not allowed to have a minion.
No minion. You go to Florida.
No
you can't-
minion.
No minion. All right.
So Yaakov,
No
you
mitzvah either.
could drive to Florida and not have to run to Atlanta, the Chapashach, or Machaya.
I always
Nope.
thought on vacation you
True.
don't have them with a minion.
If you go to Florida, there's no mikvah either.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yeah, but the beaches are open.
Sure. All that sand.
Yeah.
Leave it to the Hasidim. We'll have a mikvah open and, look at who split. Don't worry about it.
They'll bring a
Well,
portable one.
they all have pools, so a pool suffices.
A mikveh, a pizza store, maybe get a place of good cholent,
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we ready to roll?
rock and roll.
Okay, I think I forgot to post the Chazorah. Not that it really makes much of a difference, but
It could go.
okay. Yesterday we finished up with Hatmana, right? And then we had even if something warm is not a problem, right? No Hatmana on cold. No pishalakam on foods that can be eaten raw. Let's not get involved with that now because we'll never finish the daf tonight. And then how to remove insulation that's muksa. And then flax adds heat and no melting ice and snow. Right? That was Hadrin Allah. Now we start with a rather, for me at least, I don't want to call it boring, but it's a little bit dry this next few blocks. A few interesting Gemara sprinkled in here and there, but it's a little bit dry with just animals. So basically, as
It's renegade going to the mikvah in Florida with the sand.
sand,
It's got chatziza in here.
you got a little bit of chatziza, but not much. But as a hakdama, right? So it's mostly animals. So the first Rashi, it's kedai just to look at the first Rashi in the parak. Yeah, but mebahema yoytza. A person is mechuyev to make sure that his animal keeps Shabbos. Okay, meaning he doesn't have to make sure that his animal doesn't do chil Shabbos on its own, but he cannot be the cause of his animal doing chil Shabbos. Okay, so something that you use the animal, if you use to watch the animal with, then that's considered a tachshit. It's considered a ornament or jewelry, and that's the regular way. And that's not as if the animal's carrying. But something that the animal does not get watched with, then that's a masui, meaning it's a load, and an animal is not allowed to carry a load on Shabbos. Okay? And Taisa says the same thing. Yeah, and the question is exactly where this Isser comes from that Taisa discusses, right? But the point is that this is an Isser, it's an Isser for your animal to carry a load on Shabbos. Okay, so now the whole thing that's going to be is what is considered a load, meaning what's considered necessary for the animal to have on it, and what's considered not necessary.
What's
And
the
then
av
after-
malacha? What's the av malacha for it?
There is no av malacha for it. It's a separate isser. It's not one of the lamites malachas. It's just a separate isser of working your animal, of your animal
Jesus
keeping
behemta
Shabbat.
is not a told of anything.
What? It's
Jesus.
not a told. No, it's part of. Meaning that your behemoth has to keep the lamites malachas. That's really
Part of
what
that
comes out.
Seres Adibris.
What?
That Yeshvis is behemta.
What? Atu vintra, uvitecha, avdra. That you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I'm saying that the Reb Zev, the behemoth's got to keep the lamites malachas. Right? Meaning the animal.
If
We're
the
just saying the
behemoth
animal.
does it, what's the issue?
The isser is the same isser that a human would have. I mean, obviously, you're not giving a.
What a
you know,
guy just behemta does is not shvisa is chayiv misa on Shabbos.
No, they can't. No. But you can't. You have to make sure that your animal doesn't do any of the lamites malachas. Meaning, can you have your animal turn on the lights for you?
No, but if he does, what happens?
No, you're not going to be chayiv chorus for that, and the animal's not.
What are you chayiv?
I think it's just a lav. Just the lav of the Torah of Shvisas Behemta. Well, that's Taisus, exactly what the Isser is. But meaning it's not one of the lamites malachas to have your animal do work. Just any work that you're not allowed to do, your animal's not allowed to do either. Right? So just like your animal's you're not allowed to carry. So
You just get a different punishment than if you do it. If you have your animal do it.
Correct.
It's under the same Isser.
It's a lav. It's a lav. So l'chayr you get malchus. Right? That's what I mean. According to those that say it's a lav. But that's essentially what we have.
But even if it's a lot, why would you get Malchus?
Well,
Is a lav shame by
You
Mesa?
get malchus, some not.
Akiva, I can't see you, Akiva.
I know you can.
Yeah.
It's a lav shame by Mesa?
Peretz is the what do you call it? The guy, what do you call it? The
the
administrator.
mute king.
Stroil's the mashgiach. Yeah. Okay.
Is it a lav shame by Mesa?
It probably depends on if you do it. You can, I guess, talking to it is not a misa, but if you put something on top of the animal, then it is a misa. No.
Oh,
But the animal's doing the actual lav. You're not doing the actual lav.
It just says when you're mechamer, then that's taka lav.
Yeah, because you're part of the Mesa.
Mechamer achar is a different thing. I mean, it could be it's included, but right. Okay, whatever it is, but that's the.
If your animal eats grass on Shabbos, is that a lav? Is there any
because
issur in that?
he's doing it on his own.
Right, so it's only when you prod him, you're saying.
Correct, exactly. There's actually an interesting shaila that gets brought up that it's a contemporary shaila. Can you talk to Alexa on Shabbos? Is there an issur to talk to Alexa? Do you say that just talking is nothing? It's not a ma'isa. Contrary to popular belief, you are allowed to whistle on Shabbos, right? Just like you're allowed to talk and make noise out of your mouth. So you're allowed to whistle on Shabbos too. So is talking nothing? So you could talk to Alexa. What are you doing? Right? So there's a shaila that the Gemara, I forgot what the Gemara is, but the halacha that you're not allowed to loisachsim shor b'disha, right? So you're not allowed to muzzle your shor while it's plowing for you, right? So that's talking about where you actually physically take a muzzle and put it on. What happens if you can talk to your shor? You trained it that you could talk to and say, "Don't eat," right? So are you chayiv on that or not? Is that considered being muzzling it, even though you're not physically muzzling it or not? So that's a whole shot. So the place can want to bring a raya from that whatever you paskin there, you'd paskin by Alexa too. Okay, whatever it is. So, but
they don't have anything against the use of the electrical computing aspects of Alexa, and like when you talk to it, it lights up and things like that. But
no, that's what it's saying. But what are you by your talking of your mouth, you're not doing a ma'isa. You're not doing it.
You go that something comes off. When you walk through a door, what are you doing?
No, you're doing a ma'isa. The ma'isa with your body, you're not allowed to play music with your hands.
You're doing a ma'isa with your mouth.
No, but a ma'isa with your mouth is mutter on Shabbos. That's what I'm saying. You're allowed to talk on
If it causes chel yontif?
What?
If it causes chel yontif?
No. Meaning, can you bang on a table, play a drum set on Shabbos? No, right? Can you make noises from your mouth that sound like
I talk to my iPhone and somebody else will hear it. I'm allowed to do that?
It's not so pashut. Listen, we don't do it, but it's not so pashut that you can't do it. Why is it any different?
That would mean you could tell your Alexa to turn your lights on and off?
Well, you said we couldn't because of grazing animals.
What do you mean? Which part?
That that Dibor is a Misa because of.
Well, that's the shaila. I don't remember what the Gemara comes out, but that's.
I remember
some
you
place
said that we couldn't do it because yelling at them gets them to stop eating.
Correct. So that's if you paskin that way from the Gemaras, then you wouldn't be allowed to turn on Alexa. But if you hold that you're allowed by talking to an animal that's even though it'll stop eating, you're not muzzling. So that means you're really doing an isser. There you go. Right? You're really doing.
Yaakov, doesn't the Gemara by Age of Zion seem to come out that Dibur is not a Maisa?
Oh, my kids want to see it, Simon. I gotta call my kids over.
Animal.
2 dogs.
Come here and see the dogs.
Yeah.
So Yaakov,
I thought it was a cat.
doesn't the Gemara in Marcus come out with regards to Age of Zion that it's not a Maisa? Dibur itself is not a Maisa?
It's not a Maisa, yeah.
Right. So.
Right. So
why should Shabbos be any different?
Okay, well, that's the whole sugya. So that would, I guess it would play in here also.
So you could say, Alexa, order me more soda on Shabbos?
I didn't say you can't. Lamaisa, you can't.
Saying, for those who hold that you can.
I don't know if there's those that hold, but the Pais can discuss whether making your animal do malach on Shabbos just by Dibur, if Dibur is doing anything, because if you hold that Dibur is nothing, so then what are you doing?
Paris, it's not for you. Bring me more scotch.
So Tzvi Yaakov, you said it was a dry parak. This is the first Rashi.
I know. Listen, this year, Baruch Hashem, we know how to take the most dry thing and make it geshmak. Not me, the island.
No, the reason why I was asking about if it's
Simon, we need to see the dog again.
I just let them out to use the bathroom. They'll be back in 2 minutes.
All right, fine, okay.
The reason I was asking about if it's the rice, because if you do it with a shinoi, with a big isser, all the streets is bad.
And a chanami, you're right. 100%. It would be an isser derabanan. If you did it with a shinoi, it would be.
No, meaning like Shava is the whole thing of streets banting derabanan. If you did it with a shinoi, it could be with the mutter.
Oh, you mean so no, streets banting is a deraisa.
So I want to know what this is. That's it.
So Tara, the only issue with the Alexa is the behemoth part, not the electric part?
Elio Ikovic, I gave this shear in Phoenix. Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't remember. I just remember giving the shear.
I can post the link to it, to the YouTube video.
It's okay. I don't think anybody's gonna watch.
The only issue is the behemoth part, not the electric part.
No, it's the same thing. It's just if you do something with your mouth and it's not considered a malacha, so then what's the difference? What's the difference muzzling your animal by mouth and making Alexa go on by mouth? Right, what's the difference? They're both malacha, they're both isser.
Yeah, but one you have the extra isser of the setting up the electricity, whether you use your mouth or you use your fingers or whatever else you use to sweat out the electricity. If you just tell an animal not to do something, you're not actively doing something. They have some type of, I don't say das, but they have something.
I don't know. So if you're convincing it not to, I don't know. You know more about animals than me. What should I tell you?
Is there an isser for a cow to walk down the road on Shabbos?
No isser.
Right. So I think that's what Simon's saying. If you say something to Alexa, even if it doesn't make any sense or have any consequence, you're still turning on circuits.
They say you're listening to she's listening to anyways, even when you turn it off, unless you unplug it.
That already, I don't know.
Well, let's go on.
Is there like a mirror on Alexa? Like, can you tell Alexa to tell your Google Home to do something?
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Why aren't there all these other assuming like we were just like when it comes to like Kenyan and we're afraid that you're gonna tell the behemoth to go, and that's type of problem on Shabbos.
What do you mean?
Trying to remember.
I know there was a guy. I don't know if somebody asked it to me or I heard of the shaila that somebody had a dog. He trained it. He clapped twice and it turned on the lights, and he clapped twice and turned off the lights. Right? So I think the Pais can say that's usher. That's usher.
Where's Aaron Baruch?
Yeah, I don't know. He's not here tonight. All right. Anyways, okay, so let's see. Yeah, Zok the Gemara.
I'm over here. I'm here.
All right, we got because this is animal stuff, so we're gonna need your your expertise.
My dog can't do anything. She could barely do anything. She likes to sleep all the time. That's it.
Okay.
I hope she doesn't have coronavirus.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, up the Mishna. So what is an animal allowed to go out with, and what's an animal not allowed to go out with? Meaning in a Rishus Harabim, right? If it's in Rishus Hayochid, it's no problem, right? You can carry it around unless like Tosfos brings up, you're following behind it. So then that could be an isser of mechamarach behemta, but that we're not dealing with. Now we're just talking about carrying, right? So I don't know what all these words are. Yeah. So yotza gamol ba'afsar, right? A camel can go out with an afsar, which is called a halter, which is some sort of what do you call it? There's another word for that. No, the rope, not the harness, the rope that you pull it with.
Jackal, that's the word they use. It's called a halter.
The reins. It's not a reins. Reins. Who said reins?
Reins.
Right?
They call it a halter.
They call it a halter. Okay, but it's the same thing.
I don't know.
That's why
the bottom guy doesn't give a different interpretation.
Okay, but naka and a what do you call it? Right, an art scroll has a dromedary. What in heaven name?
A dromedary.
What is it?
I was wondering if Arthur said a dromedary.
A dromedary with a Y at the end.
A dromedary.
What is that?
The type of cow.
It's a type of cow?
Camel.
Yeah, I think it's the
Camel.
family. No, the camel family is called dromedaries.
All right, whatever you say. A chatam, that's what a chatam, that's something through its nose. Veluvdikis, prumbia, and a sus b'shera. A horse goes with a collar. Yeah? Fine. So now a luvdikis prumbia doesn't really say what that is. A sus with a share with a collar. V'chol b'alei asher yotzim b'shera. Anything that normally has a collar on can go out with a collar. Like a dog can go out with a collar. B'nim shachan b'asher, and you can pull it with a share also. Umazan alei, and then so that's the end of the Hilchos Shabbos part. Then the Mishnah adds umazan alei and v'toivlim mekamen. If it becomes tamei, tumas meis, right? You can just sprinkle the efer chatas. We had this a couple of blot ago. You can sprinkle efer chatas on this ring, on the what do you call a collar? A collar without having to take it off. And if the thing becomes tamei, if the collar becomes tamei, you can dunk the whole animal in the water with the collar, and you don't have to worry about chatziza, which the Gemara will talk about. My naka b'chaytim. What's a naka b'chaytim? Amar Rabbi Barachana naksa chivarti b'zmamar the parzela. It's a white naka, and it's zmamar the parzela. How do they say it? Right, with a parzela is iron, and the zmamar the parzela is an iron thing, meaning because it's wild, right? Rashi says it's very hard to watch this animal, so therefore, meaning the harder the animal is to watch, the more things you could have on it for shmira. And it's not considered a load. Veluvdikis b'prumbia, Amar Ravuna chamra luba, b'pagi de parzela. It's a white donkey, right? Also with a chamra de parzela. Yeah, luba de pagi de parzela. Levi shadar zuzi lebeichuzai lemizvan lechamra luba. Levi sent money to the beichuzai that they should buy them one of these donkeys because it's a good one. They obviously have a lot of energy. Tzaru shadrule sari, they wrapped up and they sent to him a thing of barley. L'meimar de nigri de chamra sari, in order to give energy. Nigri, energy, I think that's where energy maybe comes from. The chamra sari, in order to get a chamor, to have a lot of energy, you give it a lot of barley. So they sent it back, saying you don't have to buy one of our crazy donkeys, you just give yours barley, and then it's okay. Amar of Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, machlifin lefnei Rebbe, shalzu bezu mao. What happens if you swap the animals, right? Meaning, naka ba'afsar, right? So naka ba'afsar, meaning you go through the Mishnah, right? There's 4 different examples of animals in the Mishnah. So what happens if you swap different what do you call these things? A halter and the nose ring and all that stuff, and you swap them for different animals? Will that be considered carrying or not? Right? So, again, Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, machlifin lefnei Rebbe. They switched in front of Rebbe shalzu b'zu. This one with this one. Mao. What's the din? Naka ba'afsar lo tibaylach. A naka with an afsar, that was not a question. Kivan delay minter Rebbe masa. Since that is not, we said the naka is a wild thing, right? So putting on a afsar, which is the regular, what do you call it, a halter, right, on a naka is meaningless because you will not be able to control it like that. So that's pashut, that you put that on, it's going to be considered carrying in the Rosh Hashanah. Right? Kiti ba'ilo gama b'chaytim. What about a camel with a chaytim, with the nose ring? Mai. Kivin the sagile ba'afsar. since it really adjusts the halter is enough and it doesn't need that nose ring to grab onto it, so then masayu, it's considered a what do you call it? A load. But or do we say no? If it's extra, meaning if you get the extra, extra heavy duty shmira, that's not considered a masayu, right? So basically, what it's asking is that when you're something that's you put on the animal that will not properly be able to watch it, that's for sure carrying on Shabbos, and you're not allowed to use it. Question is, if you take something that, if you go overboard with it, and you take something that's extra shmira, is that considered a masayu because you don't really need it or not? So I'm on the phone of Rabbi Shmuel, but Rabbi Yossi Kachamar Abba. Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yossi told him, this is what my father said. Arba behemos yotzes ba'afsar. It says in the Mishna, there's three animals that go out. It doesn't say in the Mishna, I'm sorry. It says Arba behemos yotzes ba'afsar. There's 4 animals that go out with an afsar. Hasus, va'pered, va'gama, va'chamor. Right? It says these 4, and that's it. And what was our question? Our question was a gomel. So it says that it can go out with an afsar. So tamei, those are coming to school. So it's saying a gomel can go out with an afsar. Obviously, a gomel cannot go out with a halter, right? So the Gemara wants to say that because since it's too much of a shmira, therefore it's going to be considered carrying. So the Gemara answers, it's coming to exclude a naka ba'afsar, but a camel with an afsar would be okay. Now again, like we said, a naka ba'afsar is not strong enough, so therefore it's for sure carrying. Somebody want to say something?
Yeah.
Okay.
How can something be too much of a shmira? In other words, unless you have both the afsar and the other one and the naka and the whatever it's called, the chaitim.
Right.
If it only has the chaitim, then that is its shmira.
No,
How is he supposed to do a shmira?
No, because I think the chaitim is a lot more, right?
It is a lot more, but that's all the shmira it has. It's not like it has an afsar and the chaitim. So you can say, take the chaitim off.
No, but
you take the chaitim off, and now has no shmira. What is he supposed to do?
No, and a chanami. But if to put on the chaitim is a lot heavier, I think it's a lot heavier. So therefore, it's too much. It's too much of a burden on the animal. You only can put on what's necessary.
So this guy won't be allowed to take his animal out at all. He doesn't have an option.
You mean you're saying like, oh, he's stuck now. He can't walk his animal because he doesn't have the proper device. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, l'chayra, he wouldn't be able to. I think he'd have to keep the animal. What do you call it? Social distance from everybody for that Shabbos, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
So pardon whether it's like a malbush, no?
What?
You can't go out wearing 17 coats. I don't know about coats on Shabbos. You can't go on Shabbos wearing something that's not a malbush or a taksha or something like that.
Right. No, that's true.
So
that's
the same thing with the animal.
Yeah, I guess.
If that's the only thing he's wearing.
Right. No, so then I guess maybe you're going to get into. Maybe you get into that whole thing, like can you roll up your sleeves? You know the machmirim, the whole you can't roll up your sleeves on Shabbos, so maybe that's what this is all about.
How about masks on Shabbos? Can you wear a mask on Shabbos?
What?
Are you allowed to wear a mask on Shabbos?
Yeah, so in the beginning of this whole thing,
like Reb David Koner, Bill David said no wearing masks on Shabbos.
Oh, Bill David told Tante Miriam that he
changed
can.
his mind now.
Oh, he changed his mind?
I think what happened was the beginning of the masks, when it wasn't necessary, so they didn't look at it like a malbush. That's a good example, so. Now that everybody has to wear it, so they're not chosheh that people are going to take it off and all that thing. I think that's what
it was really necessary before they said it was necessary.
Okay, there you go. Clearly, otherwise they wouldn't make everybody do it.
The mask is a good idea. If they're saying now that any mask is good, can I wear a K95 outside? I don't need that much shmira.
Oh, that's okay. That's a good point. But if it has extra coverage. Right, if it's bigger, if it's smaller, just because
it's the K95 does in and out shmira, so I can't breathe in anything either. The other masks you can breathe in, what you breathe out doesn't work.
I hear
that. I don't need.
It's really a style of how heavy. Is it heavy?
It is heavier also. Yeah,
it's probably heavier.
It's
probably
both. Oh.
Okay, so and a chanami, that's a good point. Maybe what do you call it? Maybe if it's heavier, then you're not allowed to. Okay, whatever. Okay, right. The masnisa tana luvdikis v'gamal yotzim ba'afsar. A luvdikis and a gamal in the brisa we say the luvdikis and a gamal are allowed to go out with an afsar. Okay, Fine. Then it says Ketanoi. We have a Machlokes tonight. Ein Chai Yotze B'Sugar. A Chai is not allowed to go out with a sugar. A sugar is stam a lock, right? I don't know how you touch that. Sugar literally means a lock, so it's a different form of shmira for it. Chananya Omer Yotze B'Sugar. That's the Machlokes Tanakam and Chananya. The Tanakama says it can't go out with the sugar, and Chananya says it can. I'm sorry, Yotze B'Sugar u'v'chol davar ha'mishtamer. It can go out with a sugar and anything it's gonna keep it, make you be able to watch it. But my askinon. So now what are we talking about? If we're talking about a large animal, right? Misagila saiger is a saiger enough, right? Meaning if it's a big animal, a saiger is not going to be enough to watch it, which we said before. Everybody agrees that that's going to be carrying. Talking about a small chaya, I guess something like a cat or something. Then a saiger it's too much, right? I'm sorry. If it's really small, not a cat, then it's not. Then you don't even need anything, right? Meaning a saiger is too much. It must be talking about for a cat. That's the difference between them. Tanakama savar kimin desagile be Mishna ba'alma masa here. Since all it needs is a little bit of shmira, then this saiger is considered a weight. Chananya savar kol intidusi yisert loyam rinan masa. Chananya holds, like the previous Gemara's question, Chananya paskins, and he's a Tana, that you are allowed to have something that's going to give you extra shmira. Yeah? So Amar Rav Huna bar Chia, Amar Shmuel, halacha kechananya. Rav Huna bar Chia says halacha is like Chananya, and an animal can go out with an extra, not extra, but something that would normally be used for shmira, for something wilder. You can go out with it. Levi breder Rav Huna bar Chia, Rav bar Rav Huna havakazi ba'orcha. Right, so Levi breder Rav Huna and bar Chia and Rav bar Rav Huna were going on the way. They were traveling together. Kadmei chamar de Levi lechamar de Rav bar Rav Huna. So Levi's chamar, his donkey, jumped ahead in front of Rav bar Rav Huna. So cholosh daiti de Rav bar Rav Huna. So it seems like he jumped in front of him, meaning they're traveling together, and then his chamar jumped in front of him. So Rav bar Rav Huna was not so happy with that, right? Meaning because Rav bar Rav Huna, Rashi says, was bigger. He was a bigger Talmud Chacham, and he should be the one going first, and Levi's chamar jumped him. So Levi said to himself, let me say something to Rav bar Rav Huna to calm him down, to show him that he had no control over his chamar, and his chamar did it on its own. So Amar chamar. So the way Levi did it, instead of telling him my chamar is crazy, he said like this. He said to Rav bar Rav Huna, he said to him, chamar shasok of roim kegoin zeh ma lotzitz beprumbiyah b'Shabbos. A chamar who is a bad boy, shasok of roim. He works bad, right? Can he go out with a prumbiyah b'Shabbos? Right? So we said a luvdikis b'prumbiyah. That was the wild animal that goes. You take it with a prumbiyah. We didn't give a translation for prumbiyah. So, but can it go out with this extra shmir on Shabbos? This is what your father said. Mishmei de Shmuel. Halacha kechananya. The halacha is like Chananya. So that's what he answered him. And from that question and answer, he realized that it wasn't Levi jumping, making his chamar go in front. Right? He was making it. He was making it. How do you say it? He was just making. Was behaving on its own. Now, it was interesting. Taisus on the bottom of the previous Amud, right? Again, has nothing to do with our sugya, but do you have to be mechabed b'drachim? That's a whole issue. If whether you're, we had this in brachas too, right?
That's what I was going to say. I thought we had this. That you don't have to be.
Very good. So from this Gemara, it sounds like you're mechuyev to be mechabed somebody who's more chashuv when you're traveling, and in the Gemara in brachas says not, right? So Taisa has interesting teretz. Taisa says that at the end of the Taisa, he says when they're not going with a chavura, right? When everybody's traveling for their own needs, but they happen to be traveling together, then you don't have it. Then you don't have to be mechabed. But when everybody's traveling together, then you have to be mechabed, right? It's a big difference. Meaning, you're both. I always wondered this. So you have your Rebbe that's trying to make a left turn onto the road, and you want to go straight. So you have to slow up to make him be able to make the left turn. So according to this Taisus, since you're not traveling together, you're not mechuyev to be mechaber in the drachim. But if you're both traveling to the same place, you're going to the same place, you're both traveling to the yeshiva to daven, and then you're mechuyev to be mechaber. You're somebody who's more chashuv to allow the car to go first. Okay, fine. Back to animals. Tana dveid menashe. Eish shechokek labein karnel yotze v'avze b'Shabbos. And a goat that they made a hole between its horns can go out with an afsar on Shabbos, right? Meaning, if you make the hole and you put it through there, then you're allowed to. But if you stam, Rashi says you just tie it on there, then you're not allowed to, because a goat, the goat has a very thin head, right? And Rashi says he's going to shake his head until he gets off that afsar. We said an afsar is a rein or a halter, right? So if you just put it on a goat, the only reason why a halter or a rein stays on an animal, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, is because the animal's head is bigger than its neck, right? So therefore, it's not going to be able to get it off. But a goat whose head is not bigger than its neck will be able to shake it off. So the only way you can put it on is if you make a hole through the horn, then it won't be able to get that string or whatever it is off. So by Rav Yosef, what about making a hole in a goat has a beard, right? What you did here is, Rashi says, you took the beard and you made it into a circle and you tied the beard and you slipped a rope through the beard, right? So now, is that considered, that's not as strong, obviously, as putting it through the horns, right? But it's going to hurt it. So, since if he's going to try and push it or get out of it, it's going to cause him pain. So he's not going to slip out of it, and it's not going to be a problem. Or no, sometimes he can get it out of his beard, and it's going to fall down. And you're going to come carrying teku. So that the Gemara doesn't answer that shaila. Okay, meaning there's another issue that's involved here, which is that even if, besides that it's a load, the other issue is if you have something that's on the animal and you're chashish that it falls off while you're walking in Rosh Hashanah, now we have to be concerned that you don't want to lose your protection for the animal. So if the halter falls off, you may want to pick it up and carry it, right? So that's the issue there. And you're not allowed, this is going to be in a Mishna in a couple of blocks, it's not allowed, an animal's not allowed to go out with a string that's in between its horns, right? And the reason for that is because it's, well, let's see. Whether this string is there for beauty, right, because you want to put on a nice headband onto the animal, or whether it's there for shmirah.
Didn't we just read before that a goat had a thing, holes carved out at its horns, and it had put a string through it?
Right.
And now we're just reading that you can't do that.
Yes, and now we're discussing. Well, we said before that you could do it if it goes all the way through, right? Now we're asking. That was because there was a concern whether it's going to slip off and you're going to end up carrying it. Now we're wondering whether you're even allowed to let it go on there in the first place. Right? Meaning you would only be able to do it through the horns in the first place if it's a proper shmirah. But if it's not, to put through the horns, let's say because you wanted to put some flowers through the horns, that might not be allowed because that might just be for beauty, and that's carrying, right? Yeah, it's the same thing. We're going to paskin, by the way, just to make things clear here. According to the Ikar Halacha, you are not allowed to wear jewelry. A human is not allowed to wear jewelry in the street on Shabbos. Okay, jewelry is a no-go. Not watches, earrings, rings, and all that. The only reason why it's going to be mutter is because of mutter shiur shaygin v'alim yazid. And obviously we're jumping the gun here, but the push comes to shove. Anything for beauty is not allowed. We're afraid you're going to take it off and show it to friends and all that. The only reason why we allow women nowadays for jewelry is because they're going to wear it anyways, and so therefore we might as well allow it. Right? So anything that's extra that doesn't belong on the animal, be'etzem, is carrying. Sai for a human, sai for an animal. Right? So now we're going to discuss it a little bit with an animal. It's going to be a Machlokes Rav and Shmuel here. Right? So pligiba, so again, putting this ritzua between the horns of an animal. So Rav and Shmuel have a Machlokes. Chadam or bein lenoi bein l'shamer also. One says whether it's there for beauty, whether that thing is there to shmira, it's asr. If the string between the horns is there for beauty, so it's asr, but for shmira, it's mutter. So according to everybody, putting anything on top of an animal for beauty is asr, as it is going to be by humans too. Shmira is the machlokes, right? So amar, meaning with between the horns, because that's not necessarily you can be watched without
Shabbos, so this is every day.
Shabbos, all Shabbos.
By the way, just
carrying, because it's carrying, because your
tomorrow
animal's carrying.
But what's the issue to go show it to people? Animals are going to go show. You mean you're going to show it to them when you're walking with your animal?
Correct. No, then you might take it off and show it to
anybody, right? Animal's not showing it to its friends. It's not this or.
No. There's a few problems. There's a few issues that one is that it's carrying. Two, even if it's not carrying, it's a chashash that you're going to take it off and carry it. Right? So there's two different things that are going on here. Right? Right now we're talking about tying a string in between the horns of a cow. So what kind of shmira is that? Right? So it's not really a shmira. Even if you think that it's a shmira, it's really not necessary. So what are you saying?
No, I was just I was spacing out, but I thought I heard Simon ask what's the difference between this Gemara and the Gemara before.
He did ask that.
Right, so this Gemara is talking about a cow. The Gemara before was talking about.
No, that's true. But he's saying, if it's the same, he's saying it's, that's true. But it could be the same issue. It could be the same issue though. Right? Is putting it through the horns.
Feel free to go to the videotape and rewatch it later. How's that?
Peretz, Israel's supposed to be the mashgiach. You're just the administrator. Little brotherly love right there. Okay. Anyways.
So Rashi says it's totally in that machlokes. He speaks out very clearly. He says the machlokes Rav and Shmuel is going to come. It's going to come down to whether Nitirusi Yisrael is considered Maser or not.
Yeah, correct. That's going to be the next Gemara.
I'm saying I'm saying Rashi himself says it right here. I'm saying it's the machlokes. He's not machlok between different drilling in between. He just says that's the machlokes. Whether it's a goat or whether it's
an extra shmira. If it's extra shmira, is what do you call it? Not right? Because you don't. Or the question is maybe it's not a shmira at all. Also, right?
Rashi doesn't say that. Rashi says it is.
Rashi says it both ways. Para mintura beloy achiza.
Right.
Meaning it is an extra. Meaning it's extra. You're right. It's extra, but okay. I was describing it a little different way. But yes, that's exactly what the. That's what the machlokes is going to be. Whether shmira is not.
Right.
Yeah. That we're going to see. Let's see the Gemara Vayter. It'll hopefully get clear. So Amar Rav Yosef the stayim. So we don't know who holds what though. We know that everybody holds that if it's there for beauty, it's no good. But if it's there for shmira, it's a machlokes. Yeah? Some Rav Yosef, the time the Shmuel who the Amar L'noy Aser. Let's say that it's Shmuel is the one that said L'noy is Aser, L'shamer Mutter, but Shmira is Mutter. Damar Avuna Barchi Amar Shmuel halacha Chananya. Right? We said before halacha is like Chananya that Shmira Yisera is no problem. Amar Le'abaya Adarabba. To time the Shmuel who the Amar Bein L'noy Bein L'shamer Aser. Let's go the other way and say that Shmuel is saying whether it's for Noy, whether it's for Shmira, it's Aser. Damar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Right? Familiar Gemara, we just had it. Right? If they switched it by Rebbe and they said Shalzu Bezu Mao, meaning Amar Lefana Rebbe Shmuel Rebbe Yosef Kach Amar Av Dalet Behemoths, and they answered that there's 4 behemoths Yotzes Ba'afsar, Hasus, a Pered, a Goma Ba'chamor. Lav Lemute Goma B'Chadim, isn't this coming to exclude a camel with a nose ring? So now we have conflicting pshatim from Shmuel, which way Shmuel goes. So the Gemara says, Sami ha mikame ha, erase this one before there was this one, meaning that Shmuel that we said 5 lines ago, that Amar Yehuda Shmuel Machlifin Lefnei Rebbe. I'm sorry, the one before that. Allah is like Hananya. Let's erase that. Right? Who says why should you erase this one in front of that one? Sami ha mikame ha. Why don't you erase this one from this one? The Ashkechan Shmuel who Amar L'noy Asel L'shamer Mutter. Because we're going to see that Shmuel says L'noy is also L'shamer's mutter. The reason why that's in parentheses is because it's not necessary, because the Gemara is going to explain that right now. The Itmar Reb Chia bar Ashi Omar Rav Bein L'noy Bein L'shamer also. Reb Chia bar Ashi says in the name of Rav that whether you're putting this string on for beauty or for shmira, it's also. But Reb Chia bar Rav and Omar Shmuel L'noy also L'shamer mutter. So you see very clearly Shmuel says L'noy is also Shmira's mutter. So that's where we're going to pass. And so now Meisvei, they're going to ask on Rav. Now the din by a para aduma, this is going to be from a para aduma. right? That the para aduma can have nothing done with it in order for it to be kosher. You can't put any load on it. It can't be pregnant. Nothing. It's got to be like a koil guy, sort of. No work whatsoever. Yeah, yeshiva
like the
guy.
bechor, the animal that you
Yeshiva
had.
guy. No work whatsoever, right? The para aduma. Okay.
Like the bechor you had for your shiloh.
What?
The
This is para aduma. It's not bechor. It's a para aduma, right? There could be nothing, no work. So now, what happens if you're trying to walk with the para aduma? You don't want it to get lost, so you put what do you call it on it? A halter or a thing. So is that considered carrying a load? In which case, it would be puzzle now for the para aduma. So meisvei kosher ba ba'aleh b'meisera kshera. If the baal ties it with a meisera, which is an afsar, Rashi says the same thing, then it's going to be kosher. And if you're going to say it's a maso, a load, asher lo ol amar Rachmana, the Torah says that you can't have an ol go on it, and a para aduma is a cow, and we're saying that a meisera can't go. So it's a maso. So clearly we're holding that a para aduma can have a afsar, which is a halter on it, and that's not considered a load because that's the way to watch it. So Abaye says, no, the reason why it's not considered a load, really, normally when you have the cow at home, it's considered too heavy a load because he doesn't need that much shmira. But when you're going from city to city, since cows don't like leaving their home, you need to pull it in the direction you want it to go. So therefore, putting this afsar on it is proper. Rabbi Amar Shani para the damer yukar, and a para aduma is obviously a very expensive thing, so you want to give it an extra shmira. Ravina Amar b'marda, that's talking about a para aduma that's a little bit of rebel, so it needs a little bit more shmira. So that's why putting on the afsar is not an issue. Okay, hasus b'sher. So the sus we said can go out with a sher. Binim shachin yotzin b'sher. The Mishna says it goes out with a sher, which is I guess a collar, right? Binim shachin b'sher, and you could pull it. My yotzin or my nim shachin, right? What does it mean? Go out and it could be pulled. Amar Ravuna oy yotzin kruchin oy nim shachin. Either it can go out with it, the collar wrapped around, right? Even though you're not going to be holding on to the collar, right? Because that is the way it goes out. Or you can use the collar to pull, meaning you have a collar with the string. Right? What do you call it? I don't know. What do you call it when you go walk the dog with a
leash?
A leash. There you go. A leash, right? So you have the leash. So sometimes the dog, you just wrap the leash around the dog's neck, I guess. So what the Mishnah is saying, you can do it both ways. You can either pull it with the leash or you can wrap the leash around its neck. That's what Rav Huna says. Shmuel disagrees and he says you can only go out with it while you pull it. You can't wrap it around its neck. But Masnisa Tana, in the price that we learned, Yotzin Kruchen the Mashech. You can go out Kruchen in order to pull it that way, right? Meaning you leave enough space. Rashi says that you wrap it around. You change it from a leash to a what do you call it? What's the thing around the neck? A collar. Yeah. Amar Rav Yosef, Chazinu Liguli Devei Rav Huna. We saw the cows of Devei Rav Huna. Yotzim Bafsarein Kruchen b'Shabbos. They went with their afsar wrapped around their neck on Shabbos. Kiyasur Rav Dimi, Amar Rav Chanina, Mulas Shabbos Rebbe Yotzis, the mules of Shabbos Rebbe Yotzis Bafsarein b'Shabbos. They went out with the afsar on Shabbos. Fine. Okay. So now we have Ma'aser Rav about that. Yeah. Did they go out wrapped? It just said they went out with the afsar. Did they go out with it wrapped around the neck, or were they pulling it? They went out with it wrapped around their neck on Shabbos. We don't need it. Because we learn out from DVD. Because if you say Rav Dimi was saying that they only get pulled, you could have known that from Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Machlifin hayu lefnei Rebbe. Again, third time we're bringing this shaila. Machlifin hayu lefnei Rebbe shel zu b'zu. They said if you swap the different halters and stuff like that, what's the din? Amar lefan Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi kach Amar Abra arba behemas yotzes ba'afsar asus v'aper v'gama v'chamor. So Amar Ravasi itzrichelo. No, you still need a dimid Rabbi Yehuda nafka. If you would have just learned from Rabbi Yehuda, havamina Amar lefan of like kiblu minei. He would have said it, but they said it in front of him, but nobody was makabel it. Kamash Malon, the Rav Dimi. So Rav Dimi says they actually did it. So clearly they were makabel his din. Rav Dimi hava, and if it would just be Rav Dimi hava mina hanimi linu shachin. You would have thought that you can only go out with this after with this halter when you're pulling the animal. How kruchin loy, but when it's wrapped around his neck, you wouldn't be able to. Kamash malon to Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda. So Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda comes to teach you that you're allowed to. Okay, fine. So that's that. This is not easy Gemara, by the way. If anybody is a little lost, it's fine. If you're not lost, givaldik. If you're lost, it's normal. I don't know if you want to be normal or not, but it's normal. Okay. And then the last thing in the Mishnah is that you can sprinkle the mechatas on them and you can title them and you don't have to take off the collar, right? The member de b'nei kabule tumaninu. Do you mean to say that a collar that's on an animal can become tamei? Because obviously you're saying it become tamei if you have to put it into a mikvah. But now tabas adam tameya, a ring of a person is tamei. Okay, that's pretty pashut. But tabas behema v'kelim v'sharkal tabas taharis. But a ring of behema and kalim, bishar cultivars and all other rings, right? Meaning rings that are not meant for people, that are meant, Rashi says, like for the doorway, right? Tabas kalim, meaning extra rings that let's say you have a pot. This is the way I understand it. I don't know, maybe it's something else. Sometimes you have a pot that has a little ring around it that you could hold it. I don't know. I've seen pots that have like this little ring on the end, on the handle. I don't know what they're there for, but those little rings can't become tummy. Right, so
I think they hang them. A lot of
they hang them from the ceiling.
They hang it.
They hang them.
I hear. Okay, so that's not considered part of the kli, right? So those don't become tamei. So again, rings of a person become tamei. Rings of a behema do not, and kalim do not, and sharkal device taharis. All other devices are tar, right? So why is an animal, the ring around the animal's neck, the collar, becoming tamei? No, so what happened is that it was originally jewelry for the person, and then I guess the wife or the woman decided she doesn't like this jewelry anymore, so they gave it to the animal. I guess if we talk about animal rights back then, right? So it was jewelry for the animal, and then they made it into jewelry for the person. So since let's see, I'm sorry, that's one shot. So it was, since it had the ability to become tamei when it was a jewelry of a human, so therefore it still retained its ability to become tamei even once it became for an animal. Since a person uses this ring to pull the behemoth, so therefore whose ring is it? Is it the human's ring or is it the behemoth's ring? Right? So therefore, it's considered a person's ring, Rabbi Yosef is saying, and therefore it can become tamei. A stick that of a behemoth made out of metal can be makabel tumah. Since, meaning it's really meant for the animal, the stick, not meant for the human. But since the person hits the animal with it, so therefore it's considered the human, and therefore it belongs to a human. Therefore it becomes tamei. So here too, just like that stick becomes tamei, so even though it belongs to an animal, so here too it also does. Okay, v'taylim and mekayman. Okay, let's go a few more minutes. I mean, we can finish the summit. It's really, the rest of the summit is really not so difficult, unless you want to do it tomorrow. It's up to the island. I don't know.
Keep going.
Keep going. All right. V'taylim and mekayman. Those that don't speak up, that you don't have a vote. Okay. V'taylim and mekayman.
I'm down for tomorrow.
You're too late. 5 minutes. Okay, I can't say 5. 7,
I
8
just
minutes.
muted him.
Let's go. Sit back, boy.
The Tyler and McCoyman. The baby, listen, Aaron, the baby will go to sleep faster if you're on the daf. You know that. Okay, the Tyler and McCoyman, yeah? You toivel it into place. Oh, so the obvious question is, chatziza, it's a chatziza, meaning this ring around the animal's neck has to be toivel, but if the ring is up against the animal's neck, so it's a chatziza. It's not going to the water's not going to go all around it. Ravami says, no, it's talking about where you beat it out, meaning you made it that you stretched it, and therefore there's plenty of space around the ring from the animal's neck, which, by the way, is what sometimes women, if they gain weight, they get stuck with the ring around their finger. They can't get it off for mikvah, right? So it's not simple, but it's really totally if you can spin the ring, and then some place can say, again, don't paskin from this because this is major stuff. But if let's say the woman can't get the ring off, so some place can say, as long as she can turn it, so when she's under the water, she has to turn the ring. So therefore, the water will get inside the ring, right? So meaning, contrary to popular belief, a woman can go to the mikveh with jewelry on as long as it's loose. May ikar adin. Ashkenazim have a minhag that we don't go, but push comes to shove, it is allowed. So that's what we're saying here. You stretch out the ring, like you flatten it so that it stretches out, and then the water is going to get in there. Yeah, fine. So let's say now before again five lines ago we had this machlokes why this ring is not makabel tumah. We had Reb Yitzchak Nafcha because he says it was talking about where the ring belonged to a human and then it became to an animal, so it retains the tumah status. And Reb Yosef says no, it's considered a human's because the human used it to pull it. So now the Gemara says, so this teretz that it became, that he stretched it out, must be, he holds like Reb Yosef, who says that it's considered a human's. Because if it's like Reb Yitzchak who says that we're talking about where the jewelry was of humans, and then it became for behema, because if that's the case, once you do a maisa in the ring, and you stretched it out for the animal, now it's a new ring. It's a new entity. I mean, when it was the human's ring, so let's say it was this big. Now you took it and beat it up and made it this big. So now you did a maisa in the ring. You created a new ring. So how can you say it's a human? So must be he's going with Reb Yosef, and that's why it's still tamei. All kalim can become tamei just by thinking that you're using this thing as a kli. But once it becomes tamei, it can't become tar again unless you change the kli, right? We know that kalim, we had this, right? Kalim, that tamei, the way the earthenware kli, how do you tar? You can't toivel the earthenware kli. How does it become tar? You smash it, right? So you smash it. So what happens if you think in your head, I'm going to smash it? That's clearly not enough. You have to actually physically smash it, right? So same thing here. Here you smashed it. Fine. So then we answer no, because he holds a Rabbi Yehuda who says that a maisa that's going to make it better is not considered a maisa. It's only if you do a maisa to destroy it, that's where it is. The Tani Rabbi Yehuda, the only time you say a shinoi maisa changes the tumah status, that's only if only when you're destroying it. But if you're fixing it and making it better, that's clearly not gonna. You take an earthenware kli, right, and you poke a hole in it, and that makes the kli better for whatever reason. We're not going to say that the tumah leaves it. You actually got better, right? So the same thing here. The masnisa tani b'mechalal, and the Mishna, the Brisa says it's talking about where with the ring had holes in it throughout the whole. The collar had all different holes in it, so therefore water would get all around it. Okay. I heard that there are differences between different types of rings. Okay? So Amar Loi, meaning he just heard a halacha. I heard that there's different types of rings. So Amar Loi, Shema Loi Shemata Elin Shabbos. You only maybe heard that there's different rings that have to do with Ilcha Shabbos. Dilin Tumah, Dava Dochadi, because by Tumah, all rings are the same. So obviously there's the obvious question. Dilin Tumah, Dava Dochasi. Are all rings created equal by tumah? Like we just learned, a human ring is tamei, and rings of behema and kalim and anything else are considered tar. So clearly there is a differentiation between rings. So the adam kamerle, he was talking about human rings that he heard that there's differences. The adam david achasi, and are a person's rings the same? Rings that you masakin as a belt, lachkaba must have to what he said to the loins, to tighten up the loins, or you use it as some sort of shield between your shoulders. There's going to be tar. The only rings that we said, only human rings that we're talking about that are tamei, are on the finger. So clearly you see that there's difference between rings by humans too. So he's saying by a ring of a finger that there's no difference. And by ring finger rings. That's it. Sorry. Finger rings. Is that the same? But if the ring is made out of metal and the the signet of it is made out of almay. I think that's made out of wood, no?
Wood.
Wood, yeah, so it's tamei. He shall almay v'chasama shall matchas tahara. But if the ring is made out of wood and the seal is made out of metal, then it's tar. Right? So now clearly you see this difference even between rings on the fingers. He's talking about where they're all metal. Fine. So he said he heard there's no difference again. So let's back it up and just say it quickly. Basically, when he said I heard that there's no difference between rings, what he meant was human rings made out of metal. He heard that there's no differences. Fine. I heard that there's a difference between different types of needles. Maybe you heard it for Shabbos, because for tumah they're the same. Are needles the same by tumah? A needle that the hole, some needles have holes at the end, or the little piece at the end are tar. So obviously, because they're not considered kalim, so there is a difference. So when did he say that he heard there's no difference? That's where it's completed. And by a complete needle, is it the same? If you have a needle that gets rust on it, if the rust makes it that you can't sew with it anymore because you can't get it through the garment, so then it's going to be tar because it's obviously useless. Tamei, right? But that's only if you can actually see the rust on it. So he was not talking about a rusty needle. He was talking about a smooth needle. And even by a smooth needle, they're the same. A needle, whether it has a hole in it or it doesn't have a hole in it, it's mutter to carry on Shabbos. The only time we said in the kuva is that there's a difference with a hole is by tumah. We're talking about a galmi. It's taken out from it's a plain piece of metal, and it's going to eventually have the hole. So that's where you heard that there is no difference between that type of needle. Okay, so that's it. Fine. Sorry if that went a little fast, but
Go.
Okay. Have a good night, everybody, and tomorrow more animal stuff.
All right, good night.
So Yaakov, at the end of the day, what did we come out with? Like they're literally they narrowed it down to such a small case.
I know that's sort of what I was saying. Like at the end of the day, we pinned it down. Oh, this one not talking about, this one not talking about, this one not talking about. So of course there's no difference.
Right, exactly.
Right, but because you already eliminated all the differences.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
So there must be a nafkamina. They didn't just say it.
No, but that's what he's saying. You heard that there's right. He's saying,
meaning there must be a reason why he said there's no difference between this specific ring. It must be trying to teach you something. I don't know what it is.
You mean there's got to be something out there that there is a difference?
Correct. From you to my.
I hear. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. It's good to have you back, Akiva.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Sei gesund.
So Yaakov, I have a shout out to you, but I'll text it to you.
All right. Fine.
Wait, so it's Yaakov.
Yeah.
I have two dogs. Yeah, I have the black and white one and the brownish one. The brownish one I have like if I wanted to bring out front, or I send them out back because there's a yard, yeah, like a fenced-in yard. But if I wanted to bring the dogs out front with Norman, I would have to put a leash on, or attach it to the collar, and because he's a runner, he'll run everywhere. Hold on. But with Sophie, she's an older dog already. She's whatever. She won't leave. But she still has a collar on if we were to take her for a walk or whatever. Is that a problem on Shabbos then?
There's no Eruv?
Let's say there's no Eruv. There is an Eruv, but let's say there weren't. Or you don't hold of it.
Yeah. The child is that the dogs have to hold it Eruv. Maybe the dog could be Simon on the Eruv.
Or
the dog FFB or a BT?
Wait. When it was just Sophie, we could take her for a walk without a leash. But now that we have Norman, who's a much younger and more active dog, we have to put them both on a leash. So when we would walk through,
I mean, you're only putting them both on a leash because of the other one.
Right.
That's a good question. That's a good question. I hear that. No, we're done. No.
I wasn't using it because Rivka was using it.
I'll let you think about it. You can think about it.
How about we go through the sugya? We're not done yet. Let's see. You figure it out.
I hold it the air.
Okay. So.
Whatever. It doesn't make. I think modern day the harnesses and the collars back in the day had a purpose, had a work purpose. Nowadays it holds like the little bloogies that show if it runs away, like who owns it and if it's been vaccinated. Right. Animals are useless now. For the most part, dogs are useless. I mean, we got Norman for a lot of reasons, but one of them is because he's 120 pounds and he's got a bark you can hear down the street. So when I'm not home and Danielle and the kids are home and someone breaks into the house, we had someone like break one of our windows going into the basement and Norman went ballistic. Like
serious?
Yeah, like ballistic. I mean, his bark is so loud they heard it down the street, legitimately. So Norman's only his big purpose, if you were to give a purpose to an animal, would be for protection. Okay. But Sophie's useless. That dog eats, sleeps, and poops. Then that's it. It
sounds like you had it.
No. Listen, I don't have it. Back in the day, they used to be shepherd dogs. Like Sophie's a shepherd dog, so she would have to that breed would have to herd and all that stuff. They're protected, so they had jobs. Right. Now we feed them, and they're extremely reliant on us. It's like I said before that they're toys basically, just active, interactive toys.
She walked in, I'm like, oh my gosh, sorry for a second.
Right, I hear.
So those harnesses actually had a purpose. We're talking like a yoke, like the bit, when you put in a donkey, goes like that because donkeys are known to bite.